All right, so now we are at the individual close with our customer. I call it an individual consultation, but really you're closing them. And there's three things that you need to close. The first is the product sale. The second is that you need to close her on a second booking. And then the third is you need to close her on hearing more about the opportunity. So we're going to start with the sale first because that's sort of first and foremost. I will tell you though that the sale happens kind of regardless of what your style is, but you do have to ask for the sale. Otherwise, it's just not going to happen. Now, the interview and the booking part require a little more energy. For the most part, though, if somebody wants product, they're going to tell you that they want it. So when we go and sit down, I have my bag. This is the one that I use. You can use your starter kit one that has the window in the front of it. Some things that you want to have with you. First is your money bag with change in it. I have usually 10 ones, like 3 5s, a couple 10s, maybe a 20, and then a whole bunch of like maybe $3 in change in quarters, nickels, pennies, and dimes. And so I've got this all together. Inside of here in the center, I keep all the money. I keep a stack of business cards in here. I keep a couple pens, and I keep a calculator. So you want all those things to be in your money bag so that you've got that at your fingertips. The last thing you want is somebody wants to pay you in cash and you don't have any change for her. You want to accept cash whenever you can. So that is one thing that you want to have. Second thing that you want to have are hostess packets on hand. We talked about this in the hostess packet section of the trainings back in the skincare class section that we did. So you want to have, if I go to a party, I like to have at least 3 of these with me. You might want to have 4. So you take your hostess packets with you. Next thing that I have with me, and I don't do anything real fancy, so I just have a clear sheet protector. I used to have a really big Ziploc bag I kept these in. It started looking gross, so I switched to a sheet protector. These are just company information pamphlets that I keep together. You should have gotten some of these booklets in your starter kit. You can also order them on section 2, and these are totally worth every penny because you're getting information in her hands about the company. I just staple my card to the front of it, and then she has this information in it. Just be aware that when you get these, they have a little sheet in them that's like an interview guide for you to use. It's not for your customer to see, so make sure you take that out. So keep a bunch of these on hand. Other than that, I think that's everything that I have on hand. I do have lookbooks. I take extra sales slips with me. I take those because if somebody forgets to bring their sales slip in, it's going to waste my time to have to run back in and get it. And so then I've got pens and stuff in here as well. And the most important thing to have is my calendar. And it's not in the bag at the moment, but it's in my purse because I take it with me everywhere that I go. So if we were at the party, though, that calendar would be in there. So now we're sitting down with her, we're eyeball to eyeball. And the first thing I ask her, because she's a little nervous, she's afraid you're going to pressure her into sales. She doesn't know you yet. First thing I ask her is, did you have fun tonight? So let's just say that she's here. And I say, oh, Debbie, did you have fun tonight? And she says, yeah, I did. And I say, oh, that's great. Did you love what you tried? She says, yeah, I really did. Oh, that's awesome. So what part of the skincare did you like the best? And I don't want to hear about makeup. I want to hear about skincare. So I ask her, what part of the skincare did you love the best? I think it looks wonderful on you. Absolutely, yeah, I can see that. Oh, and you like the lipstick too? That's great. Well, did you want to get started with the skincare this evening then? I have product with me and you'll actually be able to take it home to get started. And she says, well, I was thinking about this or that. And I say, well, what did you want to get started with tonight, Debbie? And she'll say, well, I was thinking about this set or that set or whatever. Now, we'll talk more about kind of overcoming the sale objection in another video, but for now, I just want to assume we've gotten to the point where we've sold her a basic skincare. And so she has agreed she wants to buy a basic skincare. I fill out her sales slip. We exchange the money. Sale is done. She has her copy. I have the money. We're good on the sale. So now the next thing I ask her is I say, okay, great. Well, you remember how we talked about the second facial through the party. And your second facial, if we're looking at today, about 2 weeks out from now puts us in the middle of January. How do you feel about getting together that second week of January? What does that look like for you? And so you're not asking her if she could have a second facial. You're just asking her when. And so she'll say, oh, well, she might say, do I need a second facial? She might say that. We're going to overcome those objections later too. But whatever it is, let's say that she agrees she needs to have it. And you say, great, let's look at the dates here. Do you think it's going to be better during the week or on the weekend? and she's going to tell you. And so we get a date set up with the tentative booking approach we talked about in the booking training. And so now we've got a date, and I say, now Debbie, do you want that to be just by yourself, or do you want to share that with some girlfriends and get free product? Because I know you talked about a couple other things you wanted. Might be a great way to get it. And so she's going to answer whether or not she wants to share it with friends. And again, we'll talk about that at another time. So we've closed the sale. We've scheduled her follow-up facial. We've convinced her to share it with friends, or she has decided to share it with friends. We have our date. And I just say to her, okay, that's great, Debbie. I know that you probably need to check on that and make sure that that works for you. Can I give you a call tomorrow night and we'll just double check this and you can let me know if we need to change it? And she'll say, yeah, that'll be fine. So I say, okay, and I write down a note to give her a call tomorrow night. So now that we've scheduled her booking and we've made the sale, the third thing we need to close is the interview, as far as getting the interview. Now what I don't want to do is to spew information on her. If I say to her, are you interested? And she says yes, and then I just proceed to tell her everything about the company, it's not going to work, because she's going to go home, she's going to think about what I told her, and she's going to decide she doesn't want to do it based on way too little information. Instead, here as a new consultant is what I would do. I would say to her, Debbie, as you were watching me tonight, what did you think about the Mary Kay opportunity, and could you ever see yourself doing what I do? And then you just wait and you listen, and she'll probably say no and give you some reason. And then what I would just say, and Karen Pirot told me this, and it does work, I would just say, you're probably right, but I was wondering, would you help me with something? As part of my training, I have to learn how to talk about the company. And so the way that we do that is that my director does a little three-way call, and I have my customers dial into it with me. We call you, and we talk for like 15 minutes, and she'll answer questions about the company, and you might not even have any questions, but it just counts toward my training, and it actually helps me to earn some pearl jewelry. Do you think you could do that? Could you help me out and get on a conference call with us? You could. Oh, that would be wonderful. What does tomorrow night look like for you? When I call you, could we just do that then? And then we can talk about firming up this date too. And so now you've gotten her in on the interview. So those are the questions that you always want to ask, and I'm just going to recap those for you. The first one is, did you have fun tonight? Did you like what you tried? What was your favorite part of the skincare? So is that what you wanted to get started with tonight then? Okay, well, what did you want to get started with tonight? Once you've closed the sale, then you say, okay, let's talk about getting together for your second facial. That would put us 2 weeks away, would put us in mid-January. And did you want to share that with girlfriends and get some free product, or did you just want to do that all by yourself? And if she says she wants to share it with girlfriends, then we're getting her booked for that. And a little side note, if she does share it with girlfriends, you immediately take out your hostess packet and you hand it to her. And you say, I've got you written down for that date, and we'll check on it tomorrow, but I tell you, I'll be there rain or shine, because this is my business and this is what I love to do. So if you feel like you need to change that date, if you could just give me as much notice as possible, I would appreciate that a lot. And so then you go on. You've closed the booking. The next thing is the asking for the interview. So we're going to say at this point, Debbie, would you ever think about doing what I do? And if she says, oh no, blah, 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 you say, oh, you're probably right, but I was wondering, could you help me? I have to learn to talk about the company. And so my director does these little 15-minute three-way conference calls, and my customers can be dialed into it, and you hear about the company, and it counts toward my training, and it helps me to earn jewelry. And my director even gives you a free eyeshadow, lip gloss, whatever your director does, just for listening. So could you spare 15 minutes this week, and we can talk about the company? And she'll probably say yes. And so if she says yes, you say, great. Now I know I was going to call you tomorrow night to double check on this party. Do you mind if when I call you, we just go ahead and do that interview then? And so then you can try to get her booked for that. And then immediately call your director, tell her you've got a phone interview set up. And if that time doesn't work, this is how I work it anyway. If that time doesn't work for me, I'll bend over backwards to make it work. If it absolutely can't work, then we just give her a call. I give her a call early and I say, this is Shanna with Mary Kay, and I'm supposed to do this interview with you, and this such and such is happening, and so I can't make it tonight, but could we either do it before or after that? And so then that gives the director a chance to talk with her anyway. So that's what I would recommend as far as your closing questions go, and it's just very, very important that you ask these, because if you don't close it, it won't close on its own.